All right, let's go on the record in the Winslow case. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being on time. The record will reflect the presence of all counsel. The defendant is present. All right, and did you want to resume with Detective Benavides?
Yes, Your Honor.
When we left off yesterday, he was on the stand. So, Detective, want to come on up and take the stand? Good morning, Detective.
Good morning, sir.
All right, you're still under oath. All right, Mr. Watkins, you want to resume your cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Benavides, last time we left off yesterday, you were telling us that you were the follow-up lead detective in the case, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you were basically the second person to speak to Jane Doe 1, right?
Yes,
Okay. The first person was Officer Stevens, is that right?
that's correct.
And he took the initial report.
Correct.
And then the case gets assigned over to you to do follow-up investigation,
Yes, sir.
right? So, of course, part of that investigation is talking to the victim, right?
Yes,
So you called her, right?
yes,
And that was shortly after the incident?
yes.
Okay.
About a week, less than a week after I received it.
And when you did get her on the phone, right?
Yes,
And you told her the purpose of your call.
yes,
The purpose of your call was to verify her statement, right?
yes,
Okay. And as you tested her story and questioned her, she became uncooperative, isn't that right?
yes,
But she did tell you that she was not even sure that she was threatened, right?
correct.
Okay. Now, she never told you that she tried to signal a lady that crossed in front of their vehicle while they were in the parking lot,
No,
did she? When was the first time you heard that?
I'll be here at court.
Did she ever tell you that the suspect said that he was on a suicide mission?
No,
When was the first time you heard that?
here at court.
And you've been through all the court proceedings since the beginning of this case, right?
No,
You were at the preliminary hearing, weren't you?
yes,
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm going to object Vegas to the time when he was present for the preliminary hearing.
Whether it was,
Sustained, you're talking about you can be more specific, whether it was the entire preliminary hearing or just portions.
you were at the preliminary hearing where Jane Doe 1 testified, right?
yes,
Did you,
Your Honor, same objection Vegas to when Jane Doe testified, if he was present.
All right, you can ask him that. If he was present when Jane Doe, we're talking about Jane Doe number 1, yes, you can be more specific.
I think that was back in July 11th when Jane Doe number 1 testified at the preliminary hearing. Were you present?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. When you were at that preliminary hearing, did Mr. Winslow have a shaved head?
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Okay. Did she ever tell you that the suspect motioned like he had a gun during the incident?
No,
When was the first time you ever heard that?
the first time I heard any type of pistol or gun was during our DA victim interview on June 12th.
And it's when you first spoke with her, that was just on the phone. She would not come in, is that right?
Correct.
Right. And that's when she told you that she wasn't even sure that she was threatened, right?
Correct.
Nothing further, thank you.
All right. Any redirect?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Just to follow up on some of the questions that were just asked. On June 12th of 2018, was that the first time when you sat down for a lengthy formal interview with Jane Doe number 1?
Yes,
You mentioned that she referenced what she believed to be the suspect potentially having a pistol. Did she in fact make that statement on June 12th of 2018?
yes,
Now specifically, as to that point, did she in fact state that one moment, Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead.
Did she tell you that I was scared he's going to pull a gun?
yes,
Did she state, "I was just afraid he was going to pull out a pistol and, shoot me"?
Yes.
Now, to follow up on some of the questioning from yesterday afternoon as well, was there a point in time during the June 12, 2018 interview when she was describing what the suspect had told her to do once she had crossed over the fence and was near the freeway? Was there in fact a time when she told you that she thought he was going to kill her right then and there?
Yes.
Did she say that that's why she pulled down her pants?
Yes.
Did she in fact tell you on June 12th, 2018 that she believed he was going to throw her into the freeway?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review that recorded interview after your testimony yesterday afternoon to confirm that fact?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Watkins' questions just now about whether or not she said she wasn't sure if she was even threatened, that was during a phone conversation you had with her in what month?
I believe that was in, could I review my notes?
Yes, if it would refresh your recollection.
April 18th, 2018.
And is it fair to say that that was well after you had initially attempted to contact her telephonically?
Yes.
Now, and was that in fact about a month prior to when you met with her and showed her the photographic lineup?
Yes.
So when you spoke to her over the phone, were you attempting to see whether she would be willing to meet with a prosecutor in the district attorney's office regarding her case?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that she was unwilling to do so?
At first, she was unwilling to, yes.
Is that why you determined that she was no longer cooperating with the potential prosecution?
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, any recross?
Briefly, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Detective, she didn't say anything about the suspect possibly having a gun at the preliminary hearing, did she?
Objection as to this witness, Your Honor, whether or not he's able to testify to that, calls for speculation.
Overruled, that he said he was present. You can answer.
I don't recall that.
Okay. You also learned that she said that she was menstruating at the time of the incident, right?
Based on Deputy Stevens' report.
Right. And so that gave you an indication that there was a lot of blood, right?
There was blood present if she was menstruating, yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this testimony is being received for a limited purpose because the statement was not made to this witness. You can only consider the statement that this detective relied on. It was Deputy Stevens, correct?
Correct.
From Deputy Stevens, only as it affects his approach to the investigation. It is not to be used for any impeachment or to discredit Jane Doe number 1, but only for the purpose of determining the thoroughness of the investigation and the information he relied on. When I say he, Detective Benavides, because you were the lead detective for Jane Doe number 1.
Yes, sir.
So that's the only way you can consider that statement, because the statement was not made to him. So do not use it in any way to discredit Jane Doe number 1 or to impeach her from her testimony. Only consider it for the very limited purpose of the effect it had on this detective in conducting his investigation. All right, go ahead. Next question.
So with that information in mind, did you go to the vehicle to find blood to corroborate her story?
No.
That's correct.
All right. Any redirect?
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead.
As it relates to the questioning of what Jane Doe number 1 stated at the preliminary hearing, have you had an opportunity to review the entirety of the transcript of her testimony?
Not during the preliminary hearing, no.
And Mr. Watkins asked you whether or not you were present during her testimony. Do you recall specifically if you were in fact in the courtroom when she testified?
I'm unsure. I know I was present at least for one day.
Now, in terms of the question of whether or not she ever referenced her believing that the suspect had a gun, isn't it true that she did in fact state that she was afraid that he would pull a knife out or a gun and shoot me?
Yes.
Are you talking about testimony from the prelim?
Yes, and that would be on July 11th of 2018.
All right, can we get a page number and line number, please?
Of course, Your Honor, page 73. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
That would be page 73, lines 19 to 20.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, counsel, can you give me that,
Page 73, lines 19 to 20. And in fact, that was in response to a question regarding what had occurred and what she was thinking after he had threatened to kill her. Isn't that right?
Do you understand the question?
No.
Okay, can you rephrase?
I can't.
Of course.
I'm sorry, counsel, one more time, the page, line 9.
Page 73, lines 19 to 20.
All right, and the record will reflect that the detective has an electronic copy of, looks like that's the prelim transcript?
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
So looking at the actual preliminary hearing transcript itself, you see that there was a question asked. So what happened once he drove and ultimately parked in that area? And Sherry replied, so he parked and he goes, oh, we're going to, I'm going, he goes, we're going to get out of the car and do it out by the freeway. I'm going to fuck you in the ass. Do you recall her testifying to that?
Now that I see it, I do.
And now, just for the record, it's page 73, lines 5 through 10. Are you with us then, Mr. Watkins?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
And continuing, the next question was, had you said anything back to him as he began to tell you what he wanted you to do? And her answer was no. He just said, we're going to do it out in the freeway, by the freeway. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, this is improper rehabilitation. I mean, the issue is about whether or not she had a weapon.
Over.
In this testimony.
Overruled, you can continue.
And this is in fact the lines that proceeded immediately when she made this statement on her own, is that correct?
Yes.
So then continuing from line 14, the question was, did you respond to him in any way? And her answer was, I was just scared. No, I don't think I said anything. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
And then the next question was, what were you afraid of at that point? And she responded that he would pull a knife out or a gun and shoot me. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And the question then was, the way that he was speaking to you and the things that he was saying, did that cause you to be in fear for your life? And her response was, very much so. Is that right?
Yes.
Then the last question in this area was, when he told you that he wanted to fuck you in the ass by the freeway, what did you do? And she responded, we got out of the car, we both got out of the car. He was like, he goes, don't you move, don't you move. Don't you move so fast. He got out of the car and I got out of the car, but I had all my stuff, my backpack and my purse. So I go, I'm not leaving it in the car, so I put my backpack back on and I had my purse. So we went to, there's a fence right there and that's where the freeway was. So the parking lot is like this and we parked right here and here's the freeway and the fence. So we just walked, we both jumped over the fence. And that's when that line of questioning initially ended. Is that correct? On page 74, line 9.
Yes.
Do you recall that testimony?
I do now.
So is it fair to say that the first time that she testified to believing that the suspect had a gun wasn't just here before yesterday, right?
Correct.
And that she referenced the gun on June 12th when you sat down with her for the first time for a lengthy interview, correct?
Yes.
She also said so at the preliminary hearing, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, can you recross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
When she referenced the gun, she never referenced him, the suspect, tapping his leg and doing a motion like that, did she?
No.
Mentioned what she said was, blacks have guns and they'll shoot you or stab you. Mexicans will beat you up.
She did say it.
Nothing further.
All right, anything further?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, Detective.
You're
You
welcome.
can resume your seat at council table. And Mr. Owens, you can call your next witness.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. May I just have one moment? to
Sure.
confirm who's here? Thank you, Your Honor. At this point in time, the people are prepared to call Jane Doe 2. We just may need a moment to be able to bring her into the courtroom.
All right, is she in the back or out in the front hallway?
She would be in the back, but I just want to confirm that she's actually directly behind us.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right, good morning, ma'am. Can you please come on up and step into the witness stand right here? And then I'm going to ask you to face the clerk and raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you in, okay?
You do solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. If you would please have a seat.
Okay.
And if I could ask of Deputy DA Owens, is the person at the witness stand Jane Doe number 2?
She is.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for being here. As you've probably been told, we're going to refer to you as Jane Doe number 2. We are not going to use your real name.
Okay.
All right, so please don't refer to your name.
Okay, I'll try.
And there's also a few cameras in the courtroom.
Okay.
The cameras, I've issued a court order that they are not to show your face, but they can broadcast or record your testimony. But we do that to make sure that you remain anonymous, both in name and just by recognition, okay? Are you a little
It
bit?
was just confusing to me. I was used to going on the other side.
Right, yeah, we just brought you in the back door,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
Just to make it easier for you. Are you a little bit nervous today?
Oh, no, yes.
You are? Okay. If you ever need to take a break, just let me know. There's some
Okay.
Kleenex there if you need it, and you have some
Okay.
water. Did you bring a bottle of water?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you can put it up on the witness stand.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. I'll leave it.
Okay, just feel free to take a sip if you ever feel like you need it. If you ever need to take a break, let me know, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, so the attorneys have some questions for you. We're gonna start first with Mr. Owens. All right? All right, Mr. Owens, direct examination.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good morning, Jane Doe.
Good morning.
And I apologize that I'm going to be referring to you as Ms. Doe or Jane Doe during our questioning today. But I want to talk to you about what happened on May 13th of 2018. So over a year ago now. First, before we get into the specifics of that, can you tell the jury how old you are?
I'm 59.
So then, what month is your birthday?
I'm November 29.
So then, were you 58 years old as of May of 2018?
Yeah.
So let me ask you in terms of, generally speaking, where you live, what part of town do you live in?
What town? Encinitas.
Can you tell us where you live, just the description?
I live downtown Encinitas.
Where do you usually stay at night?
Wherever I can.
Do you stay in a home?
Sometimes.
For the most part, is it fair to say that you're actually homeless and staying on the streets?
Yes.
When you're staying on the streets, what type of places do you, or what sort of things do you have with you?
Oh, my clothes, you know, stuff to clean up with, and blankets.
When you say stuff to clean up with, you mean like
Face
personal
wash, yeah, stuff like that.
And when, as of May of last year, were you primarily living on the streets?
I was, because just a week before I lost my job.
What were you doing for a living before losing your job?
I was a caregiver.
Okay, and let me just interrupt real quickly.
Okay.
Can you make sure that he's finished with the entire question?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not focusing.
No, I just want to make sure that we don't have two people speaking at the same time, because
Okay.
this is our
She's
court
driving.
reporter.
Oh, okay.
And for example, right now, you can't talk while I'm talking,
Oh, okay.
okay? So she can only take down one person at a time. I know that you anticipate what the question is going to be, and you're starting to answer it before we finish.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't realize. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so make sure he finishes the entire question before you give your answer.
Okay.
All right?
All right,
All right,
sir.
thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Owens.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, I want to ask you about the person that you met at some point that you knew as Kevin. Do you see the person who you initially knew as Kevin in court today?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Can you please tell the court where you see that person seated and what he's wearing for the record?
He has his head down.
I'm sorry, you have to keep your voice.
He's right there.
Okay, and what is he, can you tell us what he's wearing?
He's wearing glasses and a suit.
Okay, all right, the record will reflect identification of the defendant. Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. How did you first meet Kevin?
I was going to a homeless shelter. I just got off work. And the bus only brings you so far. So I was carrying all my stuff, and he stopped and asked if I was all right, if I needed a ride somewhere, because I had a lot of stuff. I carried a lot of stuff with me everywhere I went, and
Ms. Doe, let me stop you there, okay?
oh, sorry.
So let's talk about that first time. So you were, you took the bus and then you were walking along the street, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Do you remember what street you were on when you first met the defendant?
El Camino Real.
And in relation to May, the incident that you reported to police,
Mm-hmm.
about what time of year would this have been when you first met the person you knew as Kevin?
I'm just, time of year, I guess, well, it was like 6 months before that, so,
So would that be about December, the winter time, December of 2017 maybe?
you know, I don't know. Alls I know was 6 months.
Is that your best estimate?
Yeah, but I think, you know, before the incident.
So then tell us about that time. You said you had a lot of things. Do you remember what sort of things you had and what you were using to carry them?
Oh, I think I spent the night at the lady's house, so I brought all my stuff with me, you know, or I wouldn't carry it all with me.
When you're
So-
referring to the lady that you spent the night at her home the night
Mhm.
before?
Yeah,
So Ms. Doe, I'm just gonna ask you what the court was asking you as well. Do your best to wait until I finish the question before you
okay,
answer.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, but I know that you're nervous. Let's try to listen to each other as we speak, okay? So when you're referring to a lady's home that you stayed in the night before, the first time you met the defendant, was that the woman who you were a caregiver to?
Yeah, yes, I had 2 people I was caregiving for at that time.
So then on the day that you met him, did you have all of the things, all of your possessions with you?
Mm-hmm,
Is that a yes?
mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, and the reason why I'm asking you is that a yes is because when you respond in a way that a lot of people talk, the court reporter can't write that down.
Okay.
It doesn't translate to the
Okay.
printed page, okay?
Okay,
So then, you had all of your things with you, right?
yes.
Do you remember how you were carrying them?
It feels like ages ago. I'm really quite not sure. I think I had my luggage with me. No, I think I carried all bags at that time. Probably a lot of bags with me.
And when the defendant pulled over and asked you if you were okay or if you needed a ride anywhere, do you remember what type of car he was in?
Yes,
What type of car was he in?
it was a black Hummer.
Can you describe that black Hummer?
It's just, it looked brand new. It was very nice. That's all. All I remember is it being black.
Showing you People's Exhibit 71 for identification first. Do you recognize this vehicle?
No, because it was really dark. It was a dark, okay, that,
Showing you People's
no,
Exhibit...
that's not it. That's
Okay.
like a truck.
So showing you People's Exhibit 72 for identification, I'm going to direct your attention to the monitor to your right.
Oh,
Do you recognize that vehicle as being similar to the one that the defendant drove up in?
gosh, that doesn't look similar. 'Cause
Does
I
that
just-
look different?
It looks different, because it was all black. And it wasn't,
Showing you again People's Exhibit 71 for identification, does that look to be a color different than black? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, it looks gray.
Is
It
that-
was black and it was all the same height, it wasn't lower.
Okay.
As far as that's what I remember, maybe I remember wrong.
Looking at...
It's been so long.
Looking at Court's Exhibit 72 for identification, when you're looking at that exhibit, when you say that it was different because it was all one
I
height?
don't,
What do you mean?
I don't remember seeing light gray or gray. I don't remember it looking like that. I remember it being all black. I don't remember those handle things or that. It seemed all the same height to me. That doesn't look like the same car.
Okay, I appreciate you explaining that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You recall it being all black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And when you first saw him, what time of day was it? On this very first time you met him?
You know what I think? It was still light. And, but it's gonna get, it was after work. It was probably between 5 or 6, maybe earlier, I'm not sure.
So around 5 or 6 in the evening
Yeah.
in the winter time,
Yeah.
around December or so?
Mm.
Is that a yes?
I don't know if it's December.
Okay.
I haven't thought back the dates or the time, you
I
know.
understand, and I know I'm asking a lot of
I
questions
mean, I
about
guess
that. So then tell us what happened once you spoke to him after he asked you if you were okay or if you needed a ride.
What I said,
Sure.
I thought for a second, I said, it's just down the street, and, I guess I said, of course I said yes, and he gave me a ride down to the shelter.
Were you going to a shelter that was in the city of Encinitas?
I guess you consider that Encinitas. I don't know if you consider that Encinitas or not, yeah.
Do you know, had you stayed at that shelter before?
No, it was the first time I ever stayed there.
Did you tell the defendant where it was that you were going?
No, and I actually, I wish I didn't let him drive me up to the shelter. You know, I was thinking but you know, did I tell him I didn't say anything about the shelter. He just dropped me off, you
Okay.
know, so.
You just gave him directions to where you were going?
Yeah,
Can you just tell us how he acted that first time that you met him after?
just like a nice person, you know, just like a normal, nice person.
Was he kind to you?
Yes.
Do you remember what you talked about when you were in his car?
Mm-mm.
Is that a no?
No. Okay, sorry.
When you say that he was just a nice person, what gave you that impression?
Just offering a person a ride, you know, so.
Had you ever seen him before that day when he picked you up?
No,
And you know him as Kevin, but how is it that you came to know him as Kevin?
because that's how he presented himself.
Did he identify himself by the name of Kevin?
Yes.
Did you identify yourself without saying your name? Did you tell him your name, if you remember?
I'm sure I did.
Did you just greet each other?
That day I can't really remember. I mean, as much as what I told you is all I know.
I understand.
You know.
So
It
then,
was just simple, you know, giving me a ride to the shelter.
how long would you estimate you were with him that first day in his car?
No longer than 5 minutes.
How did you leave his car? How did you leave things after you got him that first time?
Said thank you for the ride. You know, so-
Did you have any indication that you were in danger when you were in his car in any
No,
way? So, is that a no?
No.
So then tell us, over those 6 months, from when you first met him and he drove you to the shelter to when the incident occurred, how many times would you estimate you saw him at any point in time?
It's hard to say, between 5 to 7 times, maybe more, maybe, you know, in between there.
Can you tell us, when that would happen and how those interactions went?
I'd be with my friends downtown just talking, and he'd just drive and say, hi, how are you doing? Do you need any food? Do you need something to eat? Do you know, like that? And I said, no, so.
Did he still appear to be nice to you?
Yes,
Was he still being kind?
yes.
When he would offer you food, or if you needed anything to eat, did he ever invite you into his car again?
I wouldn't go in his car, for some reason. you know, and probably not smart to take a ride in the first place.
So then, when he would ask you if you needed
Well,
food,
he'd ask if I wanted to go get a bite to eat, I think. But, or if I needed some money for lunch, or if I needed something. But I didn't. You know.
would you decline?
Yes.
So then, was there ever any point in time when he offered you money?
Yes. But he offered money, you know, and other times too, but I never took it. You know, so.
And did it basically seem like he was trying to help you out?
He probably thought he was, you
Check.
know.
Lack of foundation.
Overruled. I'll allow the answer to stand. You can cover it on cross. Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, how would you describe your overall interactions with him over those 6 months?
Just like a friendly person that cared how I was doing, you know, and it was always just like no longer than 5 minutes, just a couple of minutes, you know.
And you say that you were spending time and hanging out in downtown Encinitas. Are those the places where he would pull up and he would speak to you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sorry.
So then, when he'd see you in those areas, how is it that he would call you over or speak to you? Just tell us as
I
best
don't know,
you
because
can
I
how that
saw
would
him,
go.
we were friendly, you know, acquaintance, so if I saw him, I'd say hi, and we talk, you know, just for like 5 minutes or so.
Was there any indication that you had during that 6 month period that he was a danger to you?
No.
During those 6 months, was there ever a time where he showed any sexual interest in you?
There was one time.
Can you
In
tell us
between
about
that, he's offered me food, he's offered me lunch, offered me $25, and I said no to all that. And then he said something, I don't know how he said it or how he presented it, but he just, it didn't seem like him. You know, it seemed like the opposite of what he was showing himself, you know, $50, you know, for, you know, sex. And I said, I'm not that kind of person.
When you say that,
and
let me ask you, when you say that he presented himself as a different type of person, were you surprised when he asked you?
I was very surprised.
Were you
Just a
surprised?
minute. Make sure you. I'm sorry.
He didn't finish his question. I'm sorry.
Right. Just make sure he finishes the entire question before you give your answer. And I turned your mic up as high as it would go, but can you please make sure you keep your voice up? Can all jurors hear her okay, all the way at the end?
Okay.
Okay, so just make sure you keep your voice up,
Your Honor,
and maybe
may
you can scoot forward a little bit.
May I adjust the microphone, or is that okay?
It is close to her mouth. Can you, maybe if you could, can you
Am I
hold-
not talking loud enough?
You're a little soft-spoken, it's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Just try and make sure you keep your voice up as much as possible. And
Okay.
don't forget to wait till he finishes the question, okay? All right, next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. I know that you're nervous, but I need to ask you about this time
Okay.
when he offered you $50. Do you remember specifically what he said?
Just about what I just said, you know, it was in between him offering me lunch, you know, can I give you $25? And then something about, I can't remember how he presented it. It was just, you know, money for sex. And I said that, you know, I don't do that.
And you said that you were not that kind of girl and that you don't
Yeah.
do that. Did you clearly tell him that?
Yes.
Did he accept that, meaning he didn't press further?
No.
What did he do after that?
He drove away. So,
Did you think that was odd, that was different?
yes.
Why was it that you thought that that was different from the way he had been
Because
acting towards you before?
Because he never asked any of those questions before. So,
You mentioned that you probably interacted with him maybe 5 to 7 times over the 6 month period.
yeah.
Other than that one time when he offered you the $50, had you had any indication that he was interested in you in any way like that?
No, I didn't think he was.
So then
It
let
was
me,
just a friendly acquaintance like thing, you know. So.
let me ask you about May 13th of 2018. Was that Mother's Day?
Yes.
Who were you with that evening?
Earlier, I was with my girlfriend Renee. We celebrated Mother's Day together. It was fun. And she dropped me off downtown.
When you say that you celebrated Mother's Day, did you get something to eat with Renee?
Yes.
Do you remember where you went?
I think it was Captain Keno's. I'm not sure.
Okay. And is that a local restaurant in Encinitas?
Yeah, it may not have been. It may have been somewhere else. But
Okay. And when you say that Renee dropped you off in downtown Encinitas, what part of town did she drop you off in? specifically?
by the bus station, because that's where I hung out with my friends.
Do you remember?
No.
Do you remember the friends that you were with after you were dropped off?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Was one of those friends named Christina?
Yes.
And when you were with Christina, what were you doing?
She was borrowing my phone. And,
When you say that she was borrowing your phone, did you lend it to her to use?
uh-huh. And I was, yes, and it was my other friend, Mike. They were just sitting there.
Are Mike and Christina friends?
Yes.
When you say that they were just sitting there, where specifically were you sitting?
The bus station's over on this side. It's on the left side where the people catch the coaster.
All right.
We're sitting right down there.
So you're referring to the right side and the left side around Vulcan Avenue, is that right?
Yes. D Street.
Vulcan and D, that intersection where the coaster train station is that right? So then tell us what happened that night when you were spending some time hanging out with Christina.
We were just hanging out, and I was just deciding, thinking where I was going to sleep, because I knew the friends that I sleep with, they already went to bed because I came late from dinner,
And where was it that you would normally sleep at that time?
At that time, I slept by the train station a lot.
Where would you sleep in?
Where, I'm trying to think. On the other side, where the wall was, I'd sleep against that, so the sheriffs couldn't see me.
Did you
So-
sleep with blankets over you?
Yeah, sometimes my friends would sleep there.
Now, tell us what happened after you were basically planning out your night and where you were going to lay your head.
I was just hanging out with Christina and Mike. We were just talking and just hanging out, and she was using my phone, and he pulled up.
When you say he pulled up, who are you referring to?
Kevin.
Is that the defendant you identified in court?
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened after he pulled up?
He just talked, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go get some dinner, something to eat?" And I said I already ate dinner, celebrated dinner with Renee. And I said, something mentioned coffee. I said, "Sure, coffee." And for some reason, I wasn't afraid. I mean, I didn't think anything. So I don't know if I'm rambling or answering your question.
You're answering my question, that's why I asked you to tell us what happened. But first, let me ask a follow-up. When you say that he pulled up, did he call you over?
I think so,
And did you recognize him from your prior interactions?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what type of car he was in?
Yes.
What type of car was he in?
It was a Hummer.
Was it the same Hummer that you had ridden in before?
Yes.
Was it the same Hummer that he had been driving each time that you had seen him?
Yes.
So then, when you walked over to him, were you talking to him at the side of his window?
Yes.
Did he ever get out of the Hummer?
Never.
So did he appear to be friendly and kind at that moment? When you first-
Yes. But there was a lot of moments before that. And it was like 4 months from that period. And he never showed that side again.
So you're saying that the time that he offered you the $50 may have been about 4 months before this?
Yes. There was a long period in between.
Okay.
So,
when he offered you dinner, you declined, but then when he offered you coffee, you said yes?
mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sorry.
So did you know where you were going to go?
No, I thought we were gonna go close like to Denny's, which was just around the corner.
Is there a Denny's that's located right on Encinitas Boulevard around the
Not
corner?
anymore, it's closed, but it's there then,
As of May of last year?
yes.
Are there any other coffee shops that are around there? You mentioned Captain Kino's.
There's Captain Kino's, I think Starbucks was staying open, you know, later at that time. And so I thought we were gonna go to places like that. Then I realized it was later and I think, you know, but I'll let you, I'm sorry, I'm going ahead of myself.
No, that's okay. So let's talk about that. What time of night was this?
It was later, I don't know, because I didn't look at the time. I know it was dark, you know, I know it's probably past 8 o'clock.
Sometime a little
Yeah.
after 8 o'clock?
After 8 o'clock or so.
Let me ask you, after you said yes to getting coffee, what did you do?
I told my friends, you know, they didn't seem to have any qualms, you know. And I forgot I left my phone with my friend, and I grabbed my bags and hopped in the car.
Did you get in the front passenger seat of his Hummer?
Yes.
Was there anybody else that was in the car with you and him?
No.
So where did you go?
Well, I thought we were gonna stop at Denny's, and he just kept on going and going and going and going and going and going, and it seemed darker, and I was thinking, gosh, is there anything open at this time? Then I started,
Make sure you keep your voice up, okay?
but I started getting nervous when I was asking simple questions and he wasn't answering them. Like just simple questions, where do you work out? What kind of work you do? You know, stuff like that. He'd say, he said, no, I can't. It was just, I can't remember how he said or put it. Then that seemed odd to me. And,
Ms. Doe, if I may, let me ask you another question, okay?
okay, I'm sorry.
You mentioned that he was driving. Did he drive past the Denny's and not stop?
Mm-hmm, the Denny's.
Did he
And just-
drive past the other coffee shops that you thought he might be going to?
Yes.
Do you remember what direction he was traveling on what street?
Yeah, he was from Vulcan to Encinitas Boulevard to El Camino Real, and just kept on going and going. And I
Does
thought,
El
gosh,
Camino Real, let me ask you, does El Camino Real then turn into Manchester when it
Yes.
starts to curve down towards the lagoon?
yes,
So when you were talking to him, you mentioned that you started to get a little bit concerned because he
Yeah.
wasn't answering your questions, is that right?
yes.
So what was it about the way he was acting towards you that caused you to be concerned?
He wasn't just, it was just simple questions. You know, I just thought it was odd. And he was never like that before. And I just, then I asked them, where are we going? Are we going to Via de la Valle off Del Mar? Because that's the only place I thought was open. You know,
Is
I
there,
didn't.
let me ask you, is there also a Denny's that you know of that's on Via de la Valle? in Del
Yeah,
Mar?
so I thought that's where he might have been going. Or he could have went to, that's what I was thinking, because the freeway's over there. And that's when I started getting a little nervous. You know?
What did he say when you asked him if he was taking you down to Del Mar?
He said, yeah, that's where we're going.
Did he ever say anything else to you while you were driving along and started to get concerned? If you remember?
I can't remember.
Ms. Doe, just take a moment.
Are you doing okay?
No, sorry.
Do you need to take a break?
Just take a deep breath. I want to ask you a question about what happened after you were driving down El Camino Real towards Manchester. You mentioned that it was nighttime, right?
Yeah, it was dark. There's no cars around. There's nobody around.
I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up. Did you say that it was dark and there were no cars around?
Nobody, yeah, no cars around. nobody was even at the gas station. There's always people at the gas station. It was just, yeah.
Well, when you were in his vehicle alone with him and it was dark and there were no cars around, were you beginning to grow afraid?
I think, I don't know if I was growing, a little concerned. I was starting to get a little concerned.
So then what happened as you were starting to get a little concerned?
He just turned his vehicle around and
Where did he take his vehicle when he turned it around?
it was off of Manchester, past the gas station, past where cars are. I don't know exactly.
Did he pull over at any point?
It was just very dark there.
What time? And was
No,
that a
is
yes?
that, when you were asked if he pulled over, you said, mm-hmm, do you mean yes by that answer?
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'm sorry, I
Yes,
just have to make sure that
Yes,
the record
sir.
is clear.
Yes, that's when I started getting really scared.
And listen, I know this is very difficult for you. I'm just going to ask you again to keep your voice up so all the jurors, all the way at the very end of the jury box can hear you, okay?
I just don't like this microphone.
Well, it's going to help you so they can hear you, so.
So Ms. Doe, I'm going to ask as best you can, if you ignore the microphone in front of you and look at me, and we'll be able to talk about this, okay? Take a deep breath. When he turned his vehicle around and he stopped and pulled over, do you remember what type of place he pulled over to, like what the ground was?
It just, was green, and then I remember it seemed like white, not white, tan, a lot of light. I don't know what you call it. It's not grass. I don't know what you call it.
Is it along the edge of the lagoon?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as far as the lagoon. I didn't think we were.
Okay. And what was on the floor underneath the car where he stopped?
I think it was probably on dirt. I don't know because I couldn't see. I never got out of the car fully.
All right. So then tell me what happened after he pulled over to the side of that road and parked.
He got out of the car and started coming around.
Did he say anything to you when he got out of the car?
I can't remember, but I locked the door and he had the keys.
Why did you lock the door in that moment after he got
Because
out
I
of the
knew
car?
he was coming over to me.
What did you think he was going to do?
I don't, rape me, I guess,
Were you afraid that he was going to assault you at that moment?
I was just scared. I thought it was the end of my life.
What was it about where you were and what he had been doing that caused you to think that was the end of your life?
I don't know why. I just was scared.
So after you locked the door, you mentioned he had the keys. How do you know he had the keys?
Because he unlocked it.
I'm sorry?
He unlocked it.
When did you see him unlock the doors?
And he just,
And you just took your right hand and you gestured in front of you, pressing his thumb on a button, is that right?
Yeah, yes.
Is that what he did? Did you see him do that outside
Just a
your
minute,
window?
is that what he did?
Yes.
All right, next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you see him do that outside your window?
No, he's coming around the car when he did it.
When he came alongside the car, was he standing outside of the passenger door where you were seated?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just as best you can, I know it's difficult, but just tell us what happened after he came over to the side of the passenger door where you were.
I can't remember. I just, I know he opened the door. I don't know. I don't think he held me, grabbed my arms, and I don't know what else he said, but he says we're gonna have sex, and I said please don't do this, and I said it about 4 times, and something like it's a done deal, you know, and
Ms. Doe, let me ask you about that. So when you say that you said, please don't do this, you think you said that about 4 times? Is that a yes?
yes, I begged
You
him.
took your hands when you said that he grabbed you by the arms. You extended them in front of you as though...
I just know they were held.
Okay, when you say they were held, you're clasping your hands together. Did he actually place his hands on your forearms and hold your arms together?
He held my hands together. I don't. Yeah.
Did he attempt to pull you?
I can't remember. You know.
Were you saying, please don't do this when he grabbed you by the arms?
Yes.
When you said the phrase, it's a done deal, who said that?
He did.
Other than him saying, we're going to have sex and it's a done deal, do you remember him saying anything else in that moment?
I don't know. I'm sure he did, but you know.
Were you afraid?
Yes.
When he grabbed you by the arms like that, did he pull you out of the car or push you or in any way?
It's like I was pulled. I don't know. You know.
Did you try to break free from when he was holding you?
No, I was just, just kind of, just saying, please don't do this. You know.
After you were saying, please don't do this, what did he do?
Gosh. I guess he walked, I don't know if he walked around the other side of the car to get undressed. I don't know.
Okay, make sure you keep your voice up, okay?
Okay.
Next question.
Let me ask you this. When he came over to your side of the car, he grabbed you by the wrist, was he wearing clothing?
Yes.
Do you remember what he was wearing?
I just remember black.
And do you remember if it was a black shirt, black pants, or shorts?
I think it was pants and shirt. I don't know.
And when he grabbed you by the wrist, what did he end up doing? I can't remember. I can't remember if he went around the other side of the car. He could have went around the other side of the car to get dressed. Was there a point in time when he took his clothes off, though?
He never took his shirt off.
Did he expose himself at some point?
If he did, I try not to look, you know.
Tell us what he actually did on the side of the car when you were in the passenger seat.
Well, he had me take my pants off and pulled me on front of the seat and started to,
So Ms. Doe, I have to ask you, when you say that he started to, what did he actually do?
Started to rape me. And
What did he actually physically do?
started, put his, you have to say exactly,
If you can.
put his penis inside my vagina, and
Other than saying, please don't do this, do you remember saying anything else to him?
I don't remember.
When he put himself inside of you, do you remember if he was erect when he first?
I don't know because I won't look.
Can you tell us what you were feeling when he did that?
It's painful.
What do you mean when you say it was painful?
It was painful.
Did it hurt you?
Yes.
Do you remember saying anything?
No.
Was he still holding you by the arms?
I can't remember what he was doing. I just kept my eyes closed.
Did you try to push him off of you?
No, I was afraid of him.
Why didn't you try to push him
Because
off?
he's a super big guy.
You mentioned earlier that you asked him where he works out. Was there a particular reason that you asked him?
I don't know, because I've been talking to him for 6 months. I was just making conversation.
Was he a pretty big guy?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did he appear muscular to you?
Yes.
Was he strong in the way that he grabbed your arms?
I can't remember, you know.
You mentioned that you were feeling pain when he was inside of you. Do you remember if you had tried to stop him as he was beginning to penetrate you vaginally in some way?
I can't remember. I don't think so, because I was afraid. I didn't think there's no way out, you know, so.
What was it about where you were and what he was doing that caused you to think that there was no way out?
I just knew there was no way out.
What did you think was going to happen?
I thought it was my last night.
Did you think that he was going to hurt you? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Was he hurting you in the way that he raped you?
Yes.
Do you know how long that lasted when he was penetrating you?
I don't know. He had me turn around backwards on the car and hang out.
So,
And
so initially, is it fair to say that you were facing him and he was on top?
at first, yeah. He wasn't on top. He was like that.
Did he have his feet on the outside of the vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Were you facing each other chest to chest in a sense,
Yes, but
initially?
yeah, but not.
When you say that he turned you around in the vehicle, could you just tell us physically where he touched you and what he did?
He just had me turn around and face the other way, standing on the outside of the vehicle, and proceeded to, you know,
Do you remember, when you say that he proceeded, do you remember what he did after he turned you around and now was behind you?
and what was behind me, I only saw for a little bit. I
No,
really
I'm
was.
just asking, I don't know if you heard me correctly.
Okay.
What he then did when he was behind you.
What he did, he put his penis in my vagina, and then he, I guess he tried to do it anally.
So tell us what happened when you say that.
I screamed, and then he picked me up, pulled me up, put me on the seat, and
So Ms. Doe, I know it's difficult to talk about.
had his hands around my throat, up here.
And you're taking both
like
your
this.
hands across
Both
your neck.
hands, yes.
So let me stop you one moment.
Yeah.
Just take a moment. I know it's hard. Here's what I need to ask you. When he was continuing to penetrate you vaginally from behind, you just mentioned a moment ago that he tried to penetrate you anally. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did you actually feel him put his penis inside your anus?
All I know is it hurt.
When you say that it hurt, did you scream?
Yes.
And do you remember what you screamed?
I just screamed.
Was it loud?
Yes.
Why did you scream?
Because it was painful.
Prior to that moment when he put his penis in your anus, had you screamed or yelled?
Did I?
Sustained, that has not been established yet.
Okay.
So the, you can rephrase.
I will. When he caused you that pain, did you feel that pain in your anus?
Yes.
Did you feel his penis penetrate your anus?
I'm not sure how far it was. All I know is it hurt.
Okay. Did that cause you to scream?
Yes.
Prior to that, had you screamed or yelled?
No.
When you screamed, was that when he placed his hands around your throat in the way that you just described?
Yes. So strong that I couldn't even speak. It was my voice box. I was talking funny. He told me if I scream, he'll choke me to death or murder me. I don't know what it was. I said, if you don't hurt me, I won't scream.
All right. and the record will reflect that the witness put her hand up around her neck, underneath her chin, with her thumb on one side of her neck and the other four
No,
fingers.
it's like,
Okay, now the witness is demonstrating both hands around
I
her neck.
don't know how.
Just a, ma'am, just a
Oh,
moment.
sorry.
You're making a motion I have to describe for the record, so if somebody reads it, they're able to understand what
Okay.
you're describing.
Okay.
So the witness now put both hands around her neck with the thumb on one side of her neck and the four fingers on the other, doing the same with the other hand, demonstrating both hands around the neck, right underneath her chin. All right, and again, I know this is very difficult for you. I'm gonna ask that you try and keep your voice up, okay?
Okay.
That microphone there, I turned it all the way up, and it's a speaker here in the courtroom. It goes right down to the court reporter.
Okay.
And there's speakers in the jury box, but the last juror at the very end needs to hear what you're saying, okay?
Okay.
So please try and keep your voice up.
Okay.
All right, next question.
Thank you. Now, when he placed his hands around your neck, did he squeeze?
All I know is it hurt.
You mentioned that you were talking funny or you were unable to talk. Is that true?
Yes.
When he placed his hands around your neck, did he squeeze your neck so hard that you couldn't breathe?
It was hard to breathe.
You mentioned that he then said something to you while he had his hands around your neck. What was it that he said to you?
If you scream, I don't know if it was choke you to death or I'll murder you.
Did you believe he was going to kill
Oh
you?
yeah.
Now, what did you say to him after he said, "If you scream, I will murder you," or something to that effect?
What did I do?
What did you say back to him?
I just said, if you don't hurt me, I won't scream.
What did he do after you told him?
He proceeded, to have me come back on the car where I was turned the other way, facing inside the car, and proceeded,
Did he continue to rape you after you said that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
And yes, and I just put my head down on the bottom of the car and just was waiting for it to be over.
Was it still painful?
Yes.
When you put your head down, did he have his hands on you in any way?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
Was he saying anything else to you?
I don't remember if he did or not. I probably said, I don't know. I'm probably, and I know when he was done, he ejaculated away from me outside
How do you,
of the vehicle.
so how do you know that he ejaculated away from the vehicle?
I
Where did
don't
you
know.
see
I
it?
looked for it because he walked away for a second, so I think I looked.
So then what happened after he stopped and then ejaculated outside the vehicle?
He asked me to put my pants on. Came around the seat. Put a coat on and a sweatshirt, like the hoodie thing, put over his head. He had like some kind of emblem there, and was just wouldn't even look at me anymore. He just looked straight ahead. And
Let me ask you, Ms. Doe,
yeah,
after he told you to put your pants on, did you get back into the car?
I never left the car.
Were you in it the entire time that
Yes.
this was happening?
Yes.
When he turned you over, were you halfway in, halfway out?
Yes.
Now, did he close the door when you were still in the car after he had raped you in the way you described?
He could have.
Okay.
I don't, he could have.
So then tell me, when you're describing the way he put the hood over his head and he wouldn't talk to you, did he get back into the vehicle?
He was back in the vehicle, hood looking straight forward, his hood on, had some kind of emblem on there. It looked like he put something under his sweatshirt.
What do you mean when you say that
There
it looks
looked
like
like there was something under his sweatshirt.
What do you mean? What did you think he may have under his sweatshirt?
I don't know if it's a gun, a knife, I didn't know.
What were you
I
thinking?
thought it was the end of my life.
When you say that you thought it was the end of your life, now that he had raped you in the way that you described, what did you think he was going to do?
I thought it was the end of my life.
Did he say anything more to you?
Just put my clothes on. I don't know if he said it while we were driving away. I don't know if he said it before he was driving towards like apartment complex or after. I'm kind of confused about the time frame. He said, if you tell anyone, I will murder you. And it looked like he had something on his coat. Maybe he was just trying to scare me. But I thought it was the end of my life.
When he said that to you, were you afraid?
I was very afraid. The whole time I thought I was never going to get out alive.
When you were driving, after he had pulled over and did what you described, but before he said that if you say anything, I will murder you, what direction were you driving at that point?
I think I got the time frame mixed up because I think he turned around like he was going to go to apartments, and it looked like he was going to go up there. And I said, please no, just take me home.
So let me just ask you about the direction, okay? So when he initially picked you up and was driving you to the point where he pulled over and did what he did, that you everything you've described, was he initially driving southbound on El Camino Real to where it begins to bend
No,
westbound?
he turned around, so it was...
I'm talking about before the incident.
Okay,
So
before he turned his car around?
Yes.
Okay, say that again.
Was he driving southbound on El Camino?
He first was driving southbound.
And then afterwards, after he had turned around,
It was northbound.
was he then traveling northbound?
No,
onto-
he just turned around.
Okay.
But after the incident, he turned towards like he's going to some kind of apartments. And he's like pulling up in there. I said, please, no, please take me home. And then so he turned around and then started going northbound again. And maybe that's when he said it. I'm confused. If you tell anyone, he didn't look at me. He said, I'll murder you.
And what did you say in response to him?
I don't know. I don't know if I said anything. I could have.
Was there a point in time when you told him, please let me out?
I thought he was going to drop me down in Encinitas.
So what
I
happened?
told him to take me home. He dropped me off on the side of the road on Manchester. And
What did he say to you? when
just
he-
take all of my belongings. You
What
know.
did he say to you when he pulled over on Manchester?
I can't remember. Just take all my belongings.
He told you to take all your things?
Yeah.
So once he pulled over a second time now and told you to take your things, what did you do?
I just grabbed all my things. I said something, but I can't remember what I said.
Now, as far as you can best remember, when he dropped you off, were you still on Manchester?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
So after that, did he drive away?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Was he still driving northbound on Manchester towards El Camino Real?
Yes. Yes.
So where did you go?
I walked all the way to El Camino Real. I just tried to stay by lights where it's all lighted. I didn't have my phone on me.
Had you left it with Christina, your friend?
Yes, which wasn't. And so I
Do you remember what things you had with you?
I forgot my purse because I forgot to put it in my bag. And I didn't know I didn't have it.
So then tell me what happened after you were now walking along Manchester. You mentioned that you tried to stay in lighted areas. Why was that?
Because I was afraid he's come back.
When you were walking along that road, where did you go?
I was walking towards El Camino Real, walked down Encinitas Boulevard all the way down to Encinitas. Walked by the freeway, was scared because people were jumping and hiding. I didn't know, why they were doing that, so I was scared. So I was waiting for when cars.
When you were walking along now,
I was waiting for cars to drive by, so I'd run when they drove by because I didn't know why.
did you
I
think
was
that he was
just
coming back?
afraid. I don't know if other people were gonna hurt me. I was afraid of him coming back, and I was afraid of getting attacked.
All right, Mr. Owen, make sure she's finished with her answer before you ask the next question, okay?
I'm
I will, Your Honor, I apologize.
All right, go ahead, next question.
You were afraid you were going to be attacked again?
Yes,
So then where did you walk?
it was by the freeway on Encinitas Boulevard, and I walked all the way to Encinitas. It was a weekend night, and people were hanging out, and I just started hanging out where people were.
Did you talk to any of the people that were around?
No,
Do you remember where you ended up hanging out for most of that night?
all I can remember is being at Filiberto's talking to friends.
Is
You
that a
know.
taco shop?
Yeah, yeah.
What part of Encinitas is that located?
It's off of D Street and 101.
Over on Coast Highway, right?
Yeah.
So when you were there, did you stay up all night?
I can't remember. I mean, I must have fell asleep, but I think I stayed up all night. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Were you still afraid of him coming back?
Yeah.
So let me ask you about the next morning.
Mhm.
Do you remember where you went the next morning?
I went to CRC.
Can you tell the jury what CRC is first?
It's a food bank for the homeless or, families that need help.
Is that a place that you regularly go in the morning?
Yes.
Does it stand for the Community Resource Center?
Yes.
And when you went to CRC, to the food bank, were you with any of your friends?
No, I was by myself.
Tell me, was there a point in time when you saw Christina, now we're talking about May 14th, the following day?
That was the following day at getting food. It was not till later, and I wasn't gonna tell anybody.
Can you tell us why, at that point in time, why you didn't plan to tell anybody?
Because he said he's gonna murder me, and I don't want anybody else to get hurt. I was afraid if I told anybody, they'd get hurt.
Did you believe him when he told you that if you told anybody about this, that he would kill you?
Yes,
Is that based upon what he had already done to you?
yes.
So when you were at CRC, did you tell any of the people that work at the food bank?
No,
Who was the first person you told?
Christina.
And tell us about how that happened. Why was it that you told Christina?
Because she knew it. She said, "You're not acting like yourself." What's up?
What do you mean when you say that she knew that something was up?
Because she knew me, and
Objection, move to strike speculation.
Just a moment. The fact that she knew her is not speculation. That answer will stand. Next question.
Tell me, Ms. Doe, let me ask it this way. How were you feeling during that next day, that next morning?
I just kind of remembering what I look like, but I don't know if I can explain it. I don't think I washed up yet. I just, it's probably felt kind of, this isn't the right word, scruffy.
Did you feel dirty?
Yeah, but not, just because I haven't washed up yet, I couldn't focus. I didn't want to do anything.
Were you still upset?
I just wasn't there.
What do you mean when you say you weren't there?
I wasn't there.
Were you distant? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, not all the way there.
Now, when Christina started to ask you about the way you were acting, do you remember what she said to you?
I can't remember. She was just trying to pry something out of me.
Is that the way it felt?
She wasn't prying, but I didn't think it was a good idea to talk.
Were you worried that something would
I was
happen to her?
worried to talk. Sorry.
It's okay. Did you think that something might happen to her if you told her?
I was,
Objection, leave.
Sustained. You can rephrase.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I was just afraid of getting hurt. I didn't want anybody else to know because I didn't want them to be involved.
What was it about your conversation with Christina that caused you to tell her what happened?
I can't remember. I just know she got it out of me. And then,
Do you remember what you told her?
I can't even remember how I told her, you know, but she just told me that I need to talk to the sheriffs. You know, you can't not talk to anyone, you know. And then
Did you say that you can't not talk to anyone? Is that the way
Yes.
she put it?
well, I don't know exactly how she put it, but she says you have to tell the sheriffs.
Did you tell her who had done this?
You know what? I can't remember.
Do you know if you used the person's name of Kevin?
I could have. I don't remember telling who did it. You know, I don't. All I remember is telling her that I was raped.
Now,
Oh,
let me ask you this.
okay.
When you were having the conversation with Christina, were you still upset based upon what had happened? Were you still processing?
I think I was just processing. I was really just processing.
Did you still feel like you weren't all there?
Yeah.
Were you still afraid that he was going to come back and find you?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Now, now would be a good time for.
All right, we're going to take our morning recess. Please remember the admonition, don't discuss the case with anybody or form or express any opinions. Do not look at any news accounts of this case from any source. Please leave your notebooks on your chair. We're going to be back here in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. We're in recess.